Hello everyone and welcome to the Arcade Manager add-on for NewRetroArcade. This is the new front end for version 2 and today what I'm going to do is just talk through the various features and functionality that are now included in the new add-on. So first of all, what is the Arcade Manager add-on? Well, the Arcade Manager lets you customize your complete arcade layout. It basically has a number of different features built into it. It includes the ability to preview artwork, track videos, your button layouts, your button colors, your tape setups, and your radio stations within the arcade. It also has a randomize function within the configuration which allows you to change your arcade every time you play the game if you so wish. So what I'll do is I'll just start off by talking through each of the different sections. First section on your top left here are the kind of pink section is for setting up your arcade cabinets. The blue sections for your cartridges, posters and tapes. And the green section is everything you need to kind of manage the arcade as such. So managing your favourites, generating your new arcade layout and actually playing the game itself. Down the bottom left we've got the configuration section which allows you to kind of hone the arcade setup for exactly how you want it. So examples of that are choosing the type of things you want to generate in the arcade. So you can either select it to generate everything. You can do just the cabinets themselves, cartridges, posters, and tapes. You can also customize how many attract screens you want to actually use. In some cases, if you've got kind of slower performance machines, you may not actually want any attract screens, so that's a new option that's been added in this version. You can select 0, or you can go with the standard 30 if you plan on using the FPS, the aimbot cabinets, just as the standard, as part of the standard game, or you can then choose to actually use them and have the 35 option. At the moment I've got the 35, which gives you everything and lets you customize the whole arcade. We've got the VR mode, which is currently disabled, but you can have the VR normal standing mode, or VR seated mode as well. We've also got the Game Bro backlight. It's more like it's just the Game Boy within the arcade. You can either have the backlight enabled or disabled. We've also got options for the MAME settings as well. If you click on that, it'll expand out and give you specific MAME features that you can configure. At the moment there's a bug with NewRetroArcade, which means that it only works in the standard MAME core, not the MAME 2014 core that most people use for actually setting up their arcades. But hopefully that issue should get resolved with a patch release for the game. The fix errors button down in the bottom left will fix any XML issues that you might have. So that's if you are trying to assign a light gun cabinet and say the XML doesn't exist for it, clicking that button will actually resolve it. The only exception to pressing that button though is to be aware that it will override your arcade XML files. So if you plan on using any of the import functionality within this, do not press that button until after you've imported your arcade. Okay, so let's go into this, and we'll start off with the standard cabinet. So click that to open up the main screen. So what this does is it brings up and starts playing the first row on screen. So you can see it's the Simpsons arcade I've got open at the moment. Now we can really start customizing our arcade and deciding what we want in and what we want out. And basically at the moment you can see that all the different games here are in black. Now if any of them were in red, it would mean I would have a missing ROM file, but at the moment I've got them all included. The Afterburner cabinet here, which is in blue, is actually, if you hover over it, it will tell you it's actually a duplicated ROM. So I've got the Afterburner cabinet in the list twice. So you know, I may decide to actually remove that um, since it's duplicated. But what I'll do is just take you through the various options on the on the right hand side here. So you've got the ability to select your ROM, your game. You can just click the button there. It'll actually expand out and it defaults to your ROMs folder. So you can pick whatever ROM you're actually interested in. At the moment I'm just going to leave that as Simpsons in this case. You've then got the option to select your cores. Now you can use the drop down list and it will automatically detect what cores you've already got installed within the arcade. Alternatively, if you want to import a new one, you can click on that, search for it, and actually import it in. If you say it's in your downloads folder, you could go in there and select that and it'll actually transfer the file across for you as well. We'll then get the game volume, so that's the volume associated with the actual sound from the arcade when you're playing the game. You've got your game image, which is this image here, so we can customize that, select one. So just for talking sake, we'll go in and we'll actually change it. So we'll select the Alien Syndicate one and it'll automatically update your image and preview it there. So I'll just swap that back to the Simpsons. So we'll go down, Harvey Simpsons. There we are. I'll update it again. You've then got your screen type. You get three options there. You can either have it in pixel format, vector, or HD. I've selected HD to get the best quality image, but you can customize that to your own taste. You've got the button layout options. And again, this is a drop down list. It's just alphabetically ordered, the various layouts available. I'll show you a little bit more about how to customize that in a few minutes. We've then got the actual button layout. So this is your buttons within your arcade and the colours. Now you'll see here the colours here on the right hand side match the colour code that's entered here. So if you want to customize that, you can just click on that, select whatever colour you want and hit OK, and it'll update with the appropriate HTML colour code that the game uses, and it'll also give you a preview of what the colour is there. We've then got the options for, so that's for your A/B buttons, your X, Y, and your start and select buttons as well. You've got the art front panel texture. Again, this is this preview here, so your front panel and your side panel. The actual panel colors are only used if you do not have any artwork. So you could actually just select a color, a similar fashion to these ones above. But in this case, I've got artwork for both. But again, you can swap them out, you can trade them. You could put whatever design you want in there. You just select for it. Again, if it's a recently downloaded file, you can just browse to that location and import it in manually. It will just transfer straight over to your arcades directory. You don't even have to worry about that. You just browse for the file and open it, and it will transfer automatically. So the next thing we've got is a track screen. So that's the actual video that's playing here. So you can, again, similarly, you can just select exactly what format you wish, and it will automatically start playing. You've then got the fixed location option, and that leads on to actually you're picking, instead of using the randomize option like I've got, leaving that blank will actually include it in the randomize setup. But I could say, okay, I actually want the Simpsons arcade fixed to arcade machine 0. So what does arcade machine 0, where is it placed? Well, what we can do is we can flick over to viewing the map, and what that will do is it will show us the layout, and we can see there that that's exactly where it's going to be laid out in the arcade. So again, none of these are actually clickable. You do all the configuration from the fixed location option here on the right hand side. But all you do is you can change that, so we can say actually it's number 14, and it will update and refresh, and you hover over it, will tell you which one's assigned. So we'll just swap back, so we can go back to the video format. And we've got the game music volume, so that's the track screen music volume within the game. So again, you can lower that if the music's too loud, or you can raise it if you want it a bit higher. We've then got the light gun calibration options, which are greyed out. Now that option's only available for light gun cabinets. The next option down is the option to include or exclude the arcade. Leaving it blank includes the arcade, so it's just something to be aware of. If you want it excluded, you just press no. Include yes. Now any ROMs that don't exist are automatically excluded when you generate the arcade. So just be aware of that too. So they will automatically, although it won't say no here, when it comes to generate, they'll just ignore them from the generation process. So just something to be aware of. It's a nice way of just quickly turning off games you don't like. You can also use the buttons on the top here to include or exclude all cabinets. So it's a good way to quickly remove things that you're not interested in playing. Okay, so that's a kind of overview of the cabinet properties. Moving on from there, we've got the button layout, and if you click on that, it brings up the XML for the button layout. Now, that looks kind of overwhelming, and I wouldn't expect anyone to actually manually go in and update that. But what you can do is you can press the new layout option down the bottom, and what that'll do is it'll actually open up the button layout creator, which has been created by DayVeeMan, another Steam user, and this lets you customize your button layout. So you can go in here and enter your game name. So if we say Simpsons V2, because we've already got one called The Simpsons, and we can then position our joystick. So we press the J key. We can then press A, B, X and Y, and then we can do our button layout, say at the top here, so 1 and 2. And then we just check our setup. We want it as a joystick, we want just a normal cabinet, not a special one, and then you can create your layout. I just noticed an error there once I added those, so just delete them off, create the layout again. So we've now got layout Simpsons version 2. So what that does then is if we close out of that now, it'll automatically load that into here. So let's just close out. You can see there it's automatically brought it in, and we've got a nice message on screen now which says the new button layout has been loaded. You can hit OK, and then you can click save to save that layout. I'm not going to do it in this case because I don't actually want it to override my layout for this game, but that's how easy it is to create new button layouts on screen. Moving on to the next tab, we've got the ROM information, and this comes from a Hyperspin library which is included in the pack. So you can see there the type of game it is. We've got the ROM, the description, you've got the manufacturer, the year, and the genre. And the manufacturer, the year, and the genre is used for filtering the various games. So that's the reason for that information. The next thing is the artist templates. Now this is in case you've got multiple kind of styles for each different ROM. So for example, there's a number of artists on the Steam community who might have their own custom layouts for the Simpsons game. Well, what we can do is we can import those layouts into this tool, or you might decide that you want to create one and actually export it and share it. Well, we've got the options to do that. So to create a new layout, we can just hit the create button here. So assuming we had updated our main attributes with something different, but we can just hit create. And what that'll do is it'll create an XML file with that layout. You see there at the beginning we've got the name of the ROM, and then an underscore, and then the artist name. So all we need to do is type in the new artist. So if I just say artist 1, and that will save. So we save that in the arcades beside in the arcades folder beside all the other artwork. If you press save on that, what that'll do is it will create a new layout, and we can easily switch between different layouts from different artists on this. So an example of that might be if we say, okay, well actually we've got artist 1, artist 2, we can click on that and we can hit save. And what that'll do is it'll replace the button layout with the corresponding layout, and we can switch between the two of them, which is ideal for sharing artwork across the community and exporting. So you see here down the bottom, we've got the ability to delete that. I'll just delete artist 1 because we've already got it there, so we can hit delete. I'll just give you a warning that you wish to delete the file we've just created. You say yes, and it deletes it off. Now what we can do though is hit this export option here, and what this does is it creates a zip file which contains all your artwork, everything you need to share with anyone in the community. So you just specify the artist name. So, and that's it. And I'll show you what that produces. So what we end up with is this. We end up with a file which contains the artwork, the XML file that we just spoke about, which contains the button colors, the button layout, and everything associated with that cabinet. We've then got the movie file which is included, and we've got the screen image as well. So it's a great way of sharing artist templates just through the zip file. And again, we can import them. So if someone provides you with one, you can just hit that import button, browse to the zip, and actually import that straight in, and it'll appear as another option here. And you've seen how easy it is just to switch between the two, so you can just click on it and swap between the two different designs. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just flip back to the map view for a moment, and I'll just talk through the various options up the top here. So we've got a search function which will search through the list of all the different cabinets. So let's just try that just now. So if I put Primal Rage, you'll see that it automatically goes to the next one on the list. So it's found that one. We've then got the option to do, okay, let's, and you can see here I've actually got 2 artist templates for that one as well. So if we do find next, because it's okay, so what I'm going to do is just show you the filter options within the arcade manager. So you'll notice here we've got the show filters button at the top. If we click that, it brings up the filter menu. So you can see here we can either filter by manufacturer, genre, year, or to or actually filter out cabinets that don't have any ROMs. So let's just start off with the manufacturer. So if we go in here and we say, okay, I'm interested in Atari games, so we can select more than one, and we can apply that filter. And what that'll do is it'll reduce it to only return any Atari games that we've got top. So again, this is where you might decide to actually use the include and exclude all options. So let's just say we didn't want any Atari games included. You could hit exclude all, and what that'll do is it'll update this column here and just set it all to no. So if I flick back to the show filters, So again, you can specify more than one. You can hit the clear filter option just to take it back off. So now we've got all our Atari games excluded from the arcade. So we might actually decide, well, maybe we actually only want to filter specific types. So what we can do is we could actually say, well, let's exclude everything for the moment, and that sets the whole list to no. And we'll do show filters. And this time I'm going to pick by a specific genre. I'm going to say I'm actually only interested in playing sports games today. So if I hit sports and I apply the filter, it then gives me WrestleFest at the top and a number of other sports related games. So what I can do now is hit include all. And what that does then is sets all that to yes. And now my arcade is set up to generate an arcade that's full of sports games. So you can do that with all with any of the filter options. Nice and straightforward way of doing it. You can also specify a year range within here as well. So you might only want specific games from a certain time frame. So perhaps maybe you're not interested in games from the early 80s. So let's just do that just now. So if we say 1985, say to 1990, and we'll just take our sports filter off there, and we'll apply that and see what we end up with. Oh, there we go. So, and if you view your ROM info, it'll actually tell you what year that's in. So it's a nice way of filtering to just get the games that you're actually interested in. Nice and straightforward. So let's just clear that off, clear the filters, get back to the main screen. So what we can do is we can delete, we can add, and we can save. Now, when you save, it doesn't save to your arcade XML files. What it will do is it will save your CSV file, which is part of the pack. So this is like a library of artwork and content. So what we can do is, well, whenever we save that, it doesn't mean to say it's just going to magically appear in the arcade. What we actually have to do is generate the arcade before it'll actually do anything. So if we press that button just now, it'll ask me, do I want to save the changes? I'm just going to say no for the time being. And then what that'll do is you can see it kicks off a process which will generate and loads into the NewRetroArcade the layout that you've specified. The other thing it will do is create your track screens at this point. So that's what it's doing right now. It's stripping out all the audio from each of the movie files, creating the audio files for your arcade, and then at the very end of this process it will then render out the actual video itself. The reason for that is, so here we go, it's just kicking off the video at the moment. So the reason for that is it's one of the performance limitations in NewRetroArcade, where all the different cabinet screens are played through a single movie file. So what it has to do is combine all these individual movie files together into one file to actually use within the arcade itself. So we'll just let that finish up there. What it will do is when this completes, it'll actually create a log in here of on the bottom right of the screen, which will show you everything that's been assigned. So at the moment I'm randomly generating across everything that's in the arcade. So we'll get something new every time we play the game, and that's exactly what I want. I don't want the same cabinets appearing all the time. Now I could do it. So some of my favourites were like The Simpsons and WrestleFest. I might want them appearing each time, but you know, it's nice to be able to just go in and see something different every time I play the game. So while that's finishing off, one of the things I haven't yet mentioned is the import XML option on top right. You use the import XML if you want to load in your own arcade. So say you haven't been using the arcade manager at all, you can press the import XML button and it'll actually load in your your own the old arcade layout that you had previous before you installed the add-on, and it just adds it straight into this list, makes it available. So anyway, the process is now finished, and you can see down here on the bottom right, it's basically told me everything it's assigned. So we've got all our cartridges being assigned. We've got our music, VHS tapes, and our standard cabinets, so you can see. So there we go, there's Bomber Jack being assigned in there, and it tells you the position it's been assigned to as well. So again, you could flip to the map view and actually have a look and see where those cabinets are positioned. Okay, so now that that's generated successfully, if you had any errors on that as part of the process, you could have clicked. So if we had any red warning errors when it was generating the arcade, what you can do is click that Fix Errors button down the bottom left, and that will resolve any of those issues. The other thing to be aware of is that since the light gun cabinets have been added, so I'll just flick over to them. It's a fairly new feature of NewRetroArcade, so people who've been playing the game for some time and haven't bought it recently will actually find that the light gun XML is missing. And what that means then is you won't have this option available in the fixed location drop down. If that happens to you, just press that Fix Errors button and it'll resolve that for you. So you just close out of it, close out of here, and then press Fix Errors, and that will resolve it for the next time you go back in. So let me just flip that view. So we've got our light gun layouts here as well. So you see now that the calibration options have been added to let you set them up as well. We've also got the favourites option that I haven't touched on yet. Okay, so we've got the favourites option here. Manage your favourites. You see I've got two set up. I've got 1 and 9. Now that's from the old arcade manager. But I've just generated a new arcade. So I can choose to save that. If I press save, it will prompt me to enter the name for the favourite. So I can do test and hit OK. And what that'll do is it'll add the test option here. So I can load that back in at any time by just pressing that and pressing load, and that'll restore that arcade. One thing to bear in mind is that in order to add a new favourite, you must generate the arcade. If you don't do it, then it will just take whatever was in the last run, because the files for NewRetroArcade aren't generated or aren't created until you've ran that process. Once you've ran it, you can then save to your favourites. One of the things that I've done in the past is to create a favourite list which has got, say, maybe the top 35 games, so you can set that up, have it in the background, and just load it in any time you want to use it. So it's a nice little feature. A couple of other things to point out as well. We've got the tapes options in here. I'm not going to click on any of these just because of the potential copyright issues, but it will preview the actual radio stations. It will also preview any of the actual videos. It won't preview YouTube videos at the moment, but it will preview anything, any of the local files that you've got stored. So it will actually start playing them, so you can see what it looks like as part of this before launching it in the game. So you notice here that the show filters options is disabled. That's because there's no metadata associated with the tapes to actually filter out. we've got the posters option. I'll just flick over to the posters. Again, it will preview the poster, so you can pick different posters and actually have a look and preview them. The same for the cartridges. So the cartridges do actually have the filter option enabled. So if I just scroll down here, we'll pick, so I've actually got a couple of duplicates in here. If we do Super Mario World, there we go, nice, some nice artwork there for it as well. Again, likewise, you'll see here that there's a kind of cut down version for the cartridge properties. You've got two options in here. You've got the Game Bro and the console. It's the same properties that are listed out, but for the Game Bro ones, there's only certain ones that apply. Like there's no texture or color associated with them, so it's just something to be aware of. And I think that kind of wraps things up. So yeah, if you're enjoying using the tool, then fantastic, and don't be afraid to come over to the Steam forums and join in the conversation or ask any questions you might have about it. Some people have been asking about making a donation towards development and future development of it. I've now actually added a donate button here. If someone wants to put any money towards future development, then feel free to donate. Even a couple of pounds or a couple of dollars or anything, it'd be really helpful. But yeah, so that kind of wraps up the Arcade Manager. I hope you're enjoying using it, and thanks very much for watching.